Yo, my nigga's like, so if you win, I win, nigga.
Yeah.
Damn straight.
Man, we got. I mean, shit. We be doing our predictions. We don't really keep track of that shit, but we be doing our predictions. But with the DraftKings coming up, the thing about it is, I've seen what they did with the parlays on the DraftKings app recently. But it's parlays where it's like, will Jey Uso interfere in the match? If he does, who will he interfere for? How many near falls will there be? That's the kind of stuff that I predict them to do. If they're gonna go full betting. Now, who's gonna win and who's not? If it is about who wins and who's not, it's probably you gotta get the whole card right. Pretty much, you gotta get the whole card right, and then
I would assume. I would assume the parlay would be like that too. But
yeah,
yo, send over unders on fault. Like that's, bro, you a degenerate. I'm not gonna hold you. Like, if you legitimately like 6.5 looking kind of crazy right now, like.
But my only gripe with it is that the reports coming out, I think is via Bleacher Report, is that the wrestlers are not gonna know the outcome of the match until the day of. Now,
I like that.
It's been hard to keep surprises away, you know what I mean, because of new technology and things like that. And just overall, people talk. People talk. So that's just the thing. And I'm almost like I'm for it because before some certain people got lucky, you know what I mean, I was a prediction champ. So
that's not excuse me. That's not correct. That is not historical data. If he wants to be absolutely correct, we started anew, but there was a time where he held the belt for a good amount of time.
The longest reigning champ.
No,
and I fought every time.
No, not the longest reigning champ. You had the most defenses.
So you're gonna do this in front of company?
Yes. Right. You brought it up.
Right, go ahead, show off.
Yeah. But when we started with this new beautiful belt that I left at the crib because I didn't have to defend it today, I won the first time. Scotland won the second time. I've won every time since.
And who's the Roman Reigns of this shit?
Me.
Damn, B-Mac, you didn't mention your name one time in the joint.
That's crazy. You got on a TAM right now. You need to have a cap.
So who is it? Just you two in the pool in the pool, or
the Nixon playing too?
Yeah, Scotland here too. It's three of us. It's just it's all good.
All right, so Scotland hasn't won, and you won 2 out of the 3.
Scotland, yes, you are correct.
All right, got you. And then
I'm on my Seth Rollins little drop right now, but it's all
right.
Good. It's all
good.
But
with draft coming with DraftKings it possibly working out, like you said, it's having to keep the results a secret, and like you said, people talk. There is an organization that works with predetermined rules, just like the Oscars, and they, have gotten into contact. Well, I mean, WWE wants to work with them to find a way to make sure that it is protected, because you can bet on who wins the Oscars, even though it's a predetermined result. So they voted on, and how to do a process where no one really knows until the last second. So like if you tell the competitors right in Gorilla, hey, you win, you don't, but they have the match already set up in their mind. They already did their whole angle. Hey, and they had to come up with 2 results. Hey, if your job to figure out, hey, listen, a finish for you to win, a finish for you to lose, and you get the producers, both of them, and then before they go out from Gorilla to the ring, it's like, okay, you're winning today. Go out there and do your thing. It could possibly work, But on top of that, they're going to be betting on, hey, what color is Charlotte Flair wearing? Like that's what's going to be another thing where I think is going to make it harder than you expect. Me and Chris, we've made many predictions on cards and what it's going to be, but I think they're going to make it. If for you to get your money, they're going to make it tough.
Yeah,
they're going to make it tough.
Y'all know how it is. Like I bet the Super Bowl. It's a little different finite betting when you betting just that one game, right? You betting on the color of the Gatorade. You know what I'm saying? You betting on how many completions Patrick Mahomes. It's different than you setting that, that parlay of I got the Jets, I got the Bills, I got the Cowboys, I got the whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I think for honestly, the integrity of the sport is not, I don't believe is dissipated by any measure for the simple fact that like there is really no real integrity. You know what I'm saying? Like I do believe like this is just another opportunity to see, can we be profitable? Can we be an asset? Right? If WWE, if they're doing one time, I don't know how many people they're going to be able to get the one time drawn to do the WWE hashtag barcode. So I don't know what that would be. But if they're getting traffic in from niggas betting on wrestling, and DraftKings is like, oh, these niggas is really betting on wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. They don't give a fuck. What's that money? And I think they know the money's there because that's why the parlays have already been happening for each pay live event. They know the money's there. They know that if you that's a free promo code, you get $10 or whatever it is to bet, or you get $100 to bet, and you use that. People are using that shit on wrestling, and they've been promoting it on WWE. So it's I think it's bound to happen.
Yeah. As someone who currently has a parlay going for sports at this exact moment, I will say that there are definitely people that are going to be spending their money on this FanDuel or DraftKings, whoever they got to deal with, because for the simple fact, people love betting. You just said that they're going to be a bunch of degenerates. You already know what it's about to be. They're going to be on this heavy. And the more that you give it access for people to get to it, they're going to do it.
Absolutely.
Now, with that being said, the next pay-per-view that's going to be available possibly to bet on is WrestleMania. So as WrestleMania is approaching, is anything necessarily tickling anybody's fancy over there?
Well, damn sure ain't Bray Wyatt.
Oh God.
Oof.
Now, immediately
I go bet
break catching strays.
Money that he ain't coming up.
But, I don't know why niggas got it out for Bray Wyatt, cause you know what I'm saying. Like,
and you know what? Like, I was excited, man. He kind of hurt my feelings, man. I was excited for him coming back. I was excited to see how the storyline was gonna pan out with the whole, this new twist of the Wyatt 6 that he was coming out with. Rumors about, it was supposed to be the Wyatt 6 versus the new coming of the Hurt Business. And I was just excited to see how that was going to pan out, especially with this the new storyline writer they have over there at WWE, the new long-time storyline writer. If wanted to see how he was going to start cooking. I love the way he was cooking with the storyline he's doing with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. So I just wanted to see, how he was going to branch off. That's how, to be honest with you, not saying it was easy to kind of write off of Roman Reigns, but if you already got something brewing right there, it's nothing to put a little frappe or a little cream on the coffee to make it, to make it taste a little bit better. So he already has something right there with the baseline. I wanted to see how he was going to branch off with it, being that he had already had experience with with Star Wars, right?
I think it was Marvel.
I'm sorry, Marvel. Okay. So that's what I was excited about, to see Bray Wyatt with another mind to kind of corral all those wild ideas Triple H said it was hard to harness. But overall, to answer your question, I'm definitely excited to bet on the main event, the big main event, Roman versus Cody. I want to see. I slick think they're gonna try to push Roman to 1,000. I think they're gonna try to get to him 1,000 days. I really think so. So if I'm gonna bet, I ain't gonna lie. Even though I do got,
so you betting Roman to win?
I'm gonna bet him to win. I got Roman.
I don't think you're gonna be sorely disappointed. I think that he has to finish the story at this point. All right, they got shirts.
I've seen the merch.
Shit. Yeah,
the merch look crazy. I ain't gonna hold you.
I didn't like it. I don't like the t-shirt.
What?
I'm not feeling like that. The dog and everything. I'm good.
What don't you like? Hold up.
Wow.
I'm like Paul Revere with the flag and shit.
The new
Cody shirt.
the new Cody merch you got out there is finished. I'm about to see if I can find it in the
bring it up on the.
Yeah, I'm about to find it.
I'm about to say because I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it one time.
But while you look for that, let me just touch on that Bray comment real quick because he's me and Chris's favorite like superstar.
Mine too.
Okay, yours too. I get where you feel when you say that. I get when you say you're disappointed, bro. And I think, like, especially with all the hype, with the rabbit and the QR codes, all that shit was fire. And he finally appears, and it's like, yo, the crowd goes crazy, fireflies everywhere. We're like, yo, Bray's back. So, and then they fucked it all up with Uncle Howdy shit. Uncle Howdy, I try to understand it. I try to give him time with it. And it just hasn't come and coalesced in anything that's substantial that we can sink our teeth into as an audience. When it comes to Bray, he's always going to be difficult with the character because he's a kind of like a horror type dark character who's very all over the place. That you need to make it digestible with an opponent. You got to eventually have a match. Eventually you have to bring it to a confrontation. And not that he can't wrestle, but the confrontation has to be based off of substance for some reason. And it's always has, whether it's the confrontation is about getting down Bryan into the Wyatt family, whether it's, hey, when he had like, it can't be you, Roman, like you just making sure Roman wasn't going to be the man. Him and Cena, trying to make sure Cena embraces his dark side. The confrontation meant something. And over the past couple of years, over the past couple of months, this has been very ambiguous. So it's up to interpretation. He's over there with the fireflies attacking. No, but
and that shit was gonna annoy the fuck out of me. But I'm paying attention to this motherfucker. You're paying attention, you get bitch.
But basically, I'm with you on that. But I don't think he should have walked out. If he walked out, or if maybe they say he's injured. Chris thinks he says he's injured. I'm hearing two different stories. But all we're hearing is that he's not going to be at WrestleMania, which is really a disappointment because I thought after his return and what he's gone through the past couple of years, he deserves to have that moment again and be embraced by WrestleMania audience and see that entrance. Yeah, if it was a Hurt Business coming back together, like I told Chris on the pod, like before, this Omos Brock thing, Brock Bray thing, none of it makes sense, both for the angles. So, in my mind, you already had MVP approach Bobby, say, listen, let's bring the Hurt Business back, and he's like, nah, I'm gonna do it myself. If Omos came out to cost Brock the match, rather than Brock just low blowing him, then that sets up that feud. Meanwhile, Bray has already called out Bobby. They could have done like the Wyatt 6 or something and during that time frame. And Bobby said, listen, now I got, he could have, whether he's turned heel or not, it could have been over time. You see Bobby turn into favor with the Hurt Business to combat Bray Wyatt, who's playing mind games, so that kind of stuff I thought would have been dope too. But if you're not bringing the Hurt Business back right now, Bobby's in purgatory, and so is Bray. So, like, I don't know. They got to figure it out writing wise. They kind of let the ball drop on that, and it's sad to say because both of those guys are great performers.
No, definitely, man.
I would just put a pen on the Bray situation as far as being disappointed. He admitted that like he was going, and I akin WWE as Saturday Night Live more than anything, right? When we talk about episodic shows and the ethos of it, and kind of the hubris of how shit operates, depending on like when Vince is ripping up scripts day of and shit like that. I can just imagine Laura Michaels is like, the joke is not fucking funny. I can just imagine like, you said it 7 times. Like, you know what I mean? So I can imagine like that show, and that's what I compared to. Bray admitted that like there was not a lot of direction, right? That like he just wanted freedom. You know what I'm saying? Like he just wanted to be able to a weekly episodic show, a weekly episodic
evolution, like of the character.
Yeah, exactly. And if there, and this goes back to what I was talking about MJF. if there's no evolution on it weekly, then it's just a plateau.
Right.
You know and when you have expectations, there is no room for plateaus, right? There's no room for you to be flat. And for creative, I can understand where he was like, well, damn, y'all not even gonna let this shit sit for 2 weeks. I got something to like, no. Like the expectations of what we have for him to produce, I don't want to say is abnormal from anybody else because he is an abnormal character. And in certain television shows, we do want to see more from a character that's not always expounded on, right? There is a situation where they're saying that Bray had a physical ailment that kept him out, and Chidi is like, where, when, how? And I'm like, well, he was literally out before he wrestled LA Knight because he hurt his thumb in a dark match. You know what I'm saying? Like, so shit can happen and fuck up a whole type of situation. Like, you know what I mean? We was just talking about Bailey and Bianca.
I only asked that because there's also a report that he walked out. So which one is it? So it's either he walked out because of creative differences or he got injured. I've heard both.
But this is my thing too when we talk about and just when we talk about, I don't expect every. I ask why do niggas hate Sasha Banks for walking out? Like if a nigga walked out, then like a nigga walked me. I think everybody on the screen has quit a job or left or just said fuck it for a day or whatever. Like because shit just wasn't clicking. Shit was about. I just wasn't in the mood. Like, and I'm not going to use that for an excuse for Bray, but you didn't like what he was doing anyway. So if they continued it and niggas is like, well, shit, y'all don't fucking like it. You know, you're not going to keep setting me up for failure and I'm the scapegoat. Niggas is saying that. Listen, Brock, it's a rumor that Brock walked out.
Either way, it's like, it's sad that he has to walk out. Either way, it shouldn't have gotten to the point where he has to walk out. You know, that's I'm trying to say. Like, and at this point, you got to move out.
Brock been ducking Bray for like 5 years now. You know, Brock feels Bray. Let's put that on the hat.
Right. But I think that one of the issues is if we dig way down deep on like wrestling fans and how we interpret what we see on TV. It's two things that writers have to work around. Is one, like you said, the wrestling fans' expectations, right? You have to kind of write towards, okay, what do they expect to happen? Almost to where like they had to write in Daniel Bryan into the match in New Orleans to give him the belt, or they was going to have an unsuccessful match because they couldn't write something bigger of the twist to make something that was compelling to the fans. So I think that's three things.
While we here, I'm so glad. Okay. This goes to the point, the big story that everybody's riding. We've been on the wave to Sammy KO versus Usos main eventing night one because the writers got a fucking story right that people got emotionally attached to, and niggas is like, oh, that has to be propelled. Well, I only wrote a story that was going to be a branch of what the real story was supposed to be, and nobody's paying attention to Cody and Roman. I don't think the writers' anticipation was for that. I'm going to be honest. I don't think they wrote a story like, let's make the tag team overshadow the undisputed Universal Championship match.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it overshadows
is just as prevalent. I do think that it's both are extremely hot. I think that Cody and Roman, their one interaction got a lot of buzz. It wasn't like when they interact again, it's going to get a lot of buzz. What's not getting a lot of buzz is Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's not. So, in my opinion, the main event just should go with what we want to see the most, and that is this tag division right now with the Usos. They're killing every promo. Jey Uso, like you said on the pod, deserves an Oscar, bro. Sami Zayn deserves all the praise in the world for what he's delivered and made this possible for this angle. And with the overlooming, like, this is the Bloodline WrestleMania. Let's be real. They've reigned terror over 2 years of the Bloodline, and now they should be the main event. And this should be their, comeuppance with KO and Sammy beating them in the main event on night 1, and then Cody beating Roman on night 2. That's my opinion.
Well, no, I'm gonna let y'all roll, but that to piggyback off what you were saying is the duality of what writers have to figure out, right? People can't. We was calling KO Sammy before this whole thing string together, right? Mm-hmm. So we already knew the end point. They really wrote little. They did a really great job.
They dragged it out. They did a little bit of teeth here and there.
Fantastic job. And the reason why I think that this carries is to be just to be completely honest. War Games wasn't an encapsulation to the story, clearly, right? Then we got Royal Rumble, right, with Kevin Owens having another match, and then we have so. At no point in time was there availability for another story to feel as big as this to fit in a slot. And I think when the writers just got on a real roll and you tunnel vision and making that this story is complete and concise, and I'm not blaming them, I'm not giving them an excuse, I'm not giving them an out. Nothing else anywhere on the roster gives us a fucking feel like this does, whether it's Tez and Austin, even if they did Bianca and Rhea, I don't think that they would have been able to tell a story still that would have.
But that Bianca Rhea would be a little bit more interesting in
Charlotte. I'm about to say, will it be on the scale, like the same level as the Bloodline story? Absolutely not. Okay. But I do think they could have made a definitely entertaining and important story with Rhea and Bianca, because those two actually go back to NXT. So the old shit that you could go back and rehash, like how Bianca never won, and we used to get mad as hell when Rhea would beat her. Would beat her. What did she beat her, like Portland or some shit?
Beat her in Portland. Yep. NXT Portland.
Yeah, and when she got in the middle of her and Charlotte in the first place. Like, you don't even go here. Like we've been wanting that match forever.
Yeah.
So I think that's
those two matches
also hurting the Charlotte and Rhea match, is that we had a better match that we thought was be the one.
And that speaks to expectations, like you've been talking about. But that's their fucking job. Like, you gotta have your finger on the pulse. That is you gotta have your finger on the pulse and know what the crowd wants. And if you guys go with the other match because you want Charlotte to be in the main event again, you fucked up, because Charlotte right now is not the hottest act, unfortunately. And if you guys shoehorn her in that, who that hurts? It hurts Charlotte. And not that she's not a bad competitor, she's amazing. They're probably gonna have a great match. They had a great match with no crowd, but that's gonna be like after the tag division match, or even after I think Asuka and Bianca. Whoever they follow. Whether it be a Hell in a Cell match, whether it be, the tag team of KO and Sammy versus the Usos, there might not live up to the main event, and I don't want to put them in a position to fail.
Well, so I want to keep it a buck though. Like Jericho and Triple H, right, is a famous main event that fell flat because it went right before Rocky and no, I'm sorry, that's WrestleMania 18. No, that wasn't a main event. Yeah, bro.
19.
And it was 19?
Yeah, 19 with 19. Rocky and Stone Cold.
Stone Cold, yeah.
Rocky and Stone Cold, right? Rocky and Stone Cold, and then Triple H and Jericho was the main event. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is and also there is stats that has proven me wrong too, Chidi. I know I was inaccurate yesterday, so I want to be clear right now that there's not always the case where a Royal Rumble winner is the main event. So I was using that as my staple, you know what I'm saying, as well. Like, but I do say this. No, Rhea and Charlotte shouldn't, doesn't feel like a main event. But I don't think the intention and the expectation was for the tag match to be a main event either.
Not at all.
Nah, it wasn't.
And I think the way that they derived it to the tag match was to avoid what happened in the past. Like now, okay, Sami Zayn is as hot as it's ever been. Now, there's two ways you could have went with the Sami Zayn, in my opinion. You could have said, A, history repeat itself, insert him into the main event, make it a triple threat, or B, do something that they did now was to, okay, let's see how we could 50 Cent this thing. Let's see how we could make Kanan and Power 2 Ghosts out of this bloodline type of storyline. So let's nickel and dime it. Let's break this kilo into some, and you put some work. I don't know. Damn, I'm about to talk about the past. But let's break this down so we can, we get our money's worth out of it. So let's save our big main event that we had, but also expectation again. I'm sorry we keep reiterating this. We was looking forward to The Rock versus Roman this summer. I mean,
come on.
So it was something else that we had to do. To get the expectations out of the wrestling fans' minds. So now we got something totally out the blue that we wasn't expecting. That's like, damn, okay, I'll live with this. And I think we got to give a kudos to the WWE writers now for that, by spinning that bloodline storyline with having the main
because it could have got real stale real quick.
We could have, yeah.
And that was that's how, and this is the crazy part. The trial of Sami Zayn was supposed to be the family, Alpha, Sika, and everybody coming to crown him but they got sick and couldn't travel. So this goes back to the SNL shit. Like, if you make something so good on the fly that you like, fuck, niggas want this again. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I fucked around and made crack by accident.
But I don't think that the Sami story. I think by Elimination Chamber, they knew that Sami had to be in a big prominent spot at WrestleMania. I think by not Elimination Chamber, excuse me, by War Games. By War Games, yeah,
absolutely.
Well,
he had to.
Well, I think at the War Games, he's not supposed to still be as hot as he's supposed to be.
I don't think so. I think that that they set that up for him to be as hot.
Yeah, but I think he was supposed to be extrapolated. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it was I think he was supposed to.
I don't know.
Nah, I disagree, man. Because by War Games, you already knew that Elimination Chamber was in Montreal.
Yeah, like, you get him hot for that.
Like, you knew that was gonna be his moment. You knew that for a fact.
That was true.
That's
true. I thought he was going to be in the chamber match. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I thought that was going to happen. I thought they was going to have a chamber match and he was going to win it, and that was going to, like you say, do. I mean, Edge did it, Daniel Bryan did it. Like, we've had a few people come in and be like, I deserve this more than a person who already deserves it.
Daniel Bryan always finding a way in there somehow. Now, but but like, I mean, when you talk about it, like, the whole second half of the year has been dedicated to this storyline. We're tuning in for this every week. What's in the main event? It's Sami in the bloodline, KO in the bloodline. Like, if that doesn't feel like a main event tag team match, and the first match of WrestleMania history to main event was a tag team match, it's not unprecedented that we can do this again. And for the first time ever, tag titles on the line in the main event. I'm from the camp of the best, most impactful story or moment should be in the main event. If you want to say Sasha and Bianca was a moment, it wasn't the story, then so be it. I mean, people came to see that match too. So are people coming to see Rhea and Charlotte? Not necessarily. I don't think so. I mean, do you think they can get it hot by then? Maybe. I think that there is a way to get. Maybe, I don't know. But if they started, even with Rhea and Charlotte, if they told it better than they did, maybe we'd be like, okay, there's an argument for it to be the main event still because of the way they're positioning it. They don't even position it like a main event angle right now. So on the card. So we'll see what happens, but the bloodline storyline has just taken over wrestling, to be quite honest. And if I don't care if you're in the business, if you're out of the business, you've heard something about it. So let's cap it off in the main event of WrestleMania on both nights. And we'll see if this can be the demise of the bloodline.
That's a great segue into this next portion of the pod that I want to talk to the guys about. MJF. You say everybody.
Let me sit up for this one. It's fun.
So the reason why I brought that was like they have taken over wrestling. the bloodline, and rightfully so, because I saw a dumbass post like, "Who's the best heel in the business? Is it MJF or Roman Reigns?" I'm like, there's no real comparison in that.
That's disrespectful that the question is even asked.
I mean, listen, yes, bro. We talk.
I don't think it's as like crazy. I don't think it's as crazy as you guys say it is. I mean, now granted, Roman's doing masterful heel work. If you're gonna say he's the best of all, like one of the best right now, absolutely. I think he's the best wrestler right now when he's on the mic and when he's in the ring in the world, in my opinion. But there's no debate that MGF over the past year has done some masterful heel work that has gotten Wardlow to get over, has gotten over CM Punk and old CM Punk, that has gotten everything he's done with Jon Moxley was immaculate. In my opinion, he has, when he's on the air, he raises the people he's around, and that's just my opinion. I don't think people respect him as much as he's putting the work in, and, so if you want to say that he ain't,
we can say the same thing about Cody.
If you want to say he's not the best heel, that's an argument, cool. But there's no dispute. I think there's no dispute to me that he is what he says he is. He puts in the work. He comes to work. He does something different than anybody else on the roster, and that is get you to talk about him. And I think he is and that's what a heel should do. I think he has figured out a way in this era to be a heel and push the boundaries in ways that are, may not be the greatest, but he still makes a way to get over with it. The ring work has been great. He's holding the mic. His mic work has been great forever. So why not give the guy his roses now? I think he is generational talent. I think that in the future, everybody else will see it as well. But I think that debate right now that it's either you like him or you don't. And I think that if he goes to WWE, you will definitely see why he is a generational talent.
And I'm gonna bring y'all guys in with this kind of, when we think about the storyline of the bloodline, and we can specifically remember when Jay cut the promo on Roman, it was like, everybody acknowledge you, bro. You've been who you is. When they asked me, they say, which twin is you? And he was like, damn, that is right. Is that Jimmy? Or like, you know what I'm saying? That carries over to what we're talking about right now, where we distinctly know the difference of Roman, Jay, and Jimmy. When you talk about they took over the storyline in wrestling, and then we pivot to Generation Talents and him taking over things in AEW. The reason why I'm saying that is I don't really necessarily think that he is the talk of the town in that company, but only he's not top, right? Is Mox, right? Mox was your best last year. Cheated. Yeah. Mox was your best wrestler of the year, despite of the extension of MJF. So that means he was still 2. So we were still talking about Mox. We're like, hey, where's Adam Cole at? Wondering where he's at. We're still asking about him. Kenny gets hurt. So in the grand scheme of it, like, I'm not trying to diminish MJF. I like the evolution and the ascension of MJF, but to say that per se, he's part of the reason why I'm tuning into the show. Right. And the bloodline is the only reason why we're turning into the show.
I don't know about that. Only?
I'm not gonna say the only reason. Well,
yeah, shout out to
the Mysterios.
Shout out to Bianca.
I'm here for Deadbeat.
Mysterio's doing great. Yeah, the Mysterio's.
I'm here for Deadbeat Mysterio. Let's go.
Yeah. There's I think we got the Damage Control saga, the Judgment Day saga, you got the Bloodline saga, all culminating at WrestleMania. I think to me, all those at certain point in time have captured my interest. To come to the show. In AEW, for me personally, it's been mostly MJF, and then they have some really good matches sometimes where I'm like, I got to tune in to see that match. Yeah. But for character, who are like, oh, he's gonna be on, I gotta see his promo. It's MJF. Like, he is that. I mean, I'm gonna let y'all take on this because I'm curious what you guys say. But that 4 Pillars promo showed exactly why MJF is where he's at and they're where they're at. Like,
exactly.
It's just showed exactly.
I didn't really so. I remember the whole 4 Pillars thing. I don't really think it's the 4 pillars anymore. I think that's almost forced upon us right now because of how great MJF is. Okay, like so. I could have my personal reasons against Darby Allin. You know, that's I don't want to speak on that, but you know that you know.
Speak on it. It's not live. We're not on YouTube live. It's recorded.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, he has. I'm gonna just say, he have out of the ring issues that I'm not too fond with. You know, and I really can't see past that. So, the same thing with Austin Theory. We're probably gonna talk about him later. You know, with him and his angle with Cena. And reason why I think Cena killed him. But but even beyond that, like MJF is he's the only one that actually crossed over to a mini mainstream line off of, maybe it was cheap, maybe it wasn't, but the throwing the drink on the kid. That's an old school. No matter how of a wrestling aficionado, if you're a casual fan, like I think I am myself, but it transcended to where like people that don't even watch wrestling trying to cancel them. Now
that's the moment.
Either way you cut, flip it or dice it, that is great heel work. You know, now is it right? It probably that's hell because it happened to a little black boy. But
it was alcohol.
Right. It was
alcohol. I didn't like that. I'll be honest. I didn't like that. I don't think he needed to do that, but he takes it like right over the line, you know, like right over the line. He flat out told Renee Young to shut her mouth, like right on the air, like in a world where like, yo, you gotta respect women and all that stuff. He took the mic, told her to shut her mouth, told her to get out of his way. Like he does this, his character work is really consistent. And we are entertained by it. You know.
Now, quick question. Fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting MJF over Miz.
No,
and maybe you can't today, but I'm telling you, one day you will. I'm not saying you will today, and I can say that right now. I wouldn't put him above Miz either, but I see enough in him that if in 2024 he does go to WWE, whether it be NXT or straight to the main roster, he will be bigger star than the Miz in like about a year.
I think the only reason I'm saying that is because when you say great heel work, right? We're talking like you don't have to. I talk about the lowbrow shit all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like I do believe it's beneath. That's what I was just saying. Like going to the plateau situation now. Talking about MJF. The ascension of MJF, I dig all of you, right? Take your digs, take your shots, get your low blows in. But once you get there, it feels like it's cruise control, it's flatline. Like I don't see even Daniel Bryan, that feud, it didn't rev up to me. You see what I'm saying? Like I was invested in Mox when he told Renee Young to shut her mouth because that's his opponent's wife. Like that, that's gonna get her under the skin. You told my bitch to shut up, nigga. Like, yeah, let's get this in, nigga. Like, you know,
I'm gonna beat your ass when I see you.
Nigga, he called CM Punk a meth head and he don't use drugs, nigga. Like, you know
like, but if you look at him, if you didn't know that. It looked like
see what I mean. Blew up. His digs are you remember that shit. That shit is funny as hell. Like for me, he just cracks me up, man. Like every time, even though like I lowbrow, even though it's like immature, but that's who his character is. He doesn't give a fuck. Like
he's also 25, right? 25, 26. So yeah.
And to talk about character too, when you look at the Chris Van
Vliet.
Yeah. Chris Van Vliet, he stays in character. That's old school. You know what I'm saying? The only person that did that was a great wrestler that still did it in the modern age was The Undertaker. Until now, he's doing the one-man shows and he kind of,
and Rick lives the gimmick too a lot.
Well, I mean, I think that was just Rick. I think he wanted to blow his money. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was just Rick. But you know, MJF, we don't really know who the real MJF. We know who the real Roman is. Joe. Right. We know who the real Seth Rollins is. We know we knew who the real Sean Hickenbottom was. You know what I'm saying? And Michael Hickenbottom.
And that's why I dug MJF when we talk about, when we just had, hey, why Sasha walk out? Hey, why, if Bray Wyatt walked out, nigga, we was yearning for MJF. He walked out. It's all, again, like, it is understanding your value, and it's also like, listen, man, there is not going to be a time where I'm not going to feel like that the worth that I'm bringing is not going to be compensated, not even money wise, just respected. You know what I mean? Like, I think MJF wanted to earn that and earned that respect to be not looked past and it's shout out to Lamar Jackson. If it is true that ownership or GM brought in the offensive coordinator without hitting the homie up and asked him what it is, like, that ain't what it is, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's you gotta be able, and Tony don't have to pass nothing through MJF, but if you're gonna talk about 4 pillars, if you're gonna say you the future, if you're gonna say, yo, we're gonna put this company on your back on your back after we get established with Jericho and Kenny Omega